Right, time to get moving. Doesn't look like there's anything in the water to grab. Not that I really expected to see anything. Just that it's not a bad idea to keep an eye out, especially after you do something relatively notable that alters the terrain a little. At the very least, the 2D games would have loved to have thrown some scattered upgrades into areas that were completely inaccessible due to the acid before now. Hell, considering I'm not being thorough to the point that I check absolutely every room we've ever been in before now, I wouldn't be surprised if I've missed a few things that we can reach at the moment. In fact, I just noticed a room we haven't explored yet in the map just nearby. Ah, yes! The tunnel near where we grabbed the charge beam. I guess I did have a reason to go back to this little corner. Right, that seems like an effective bit of clearing the way. Not too sure why I decided to get out of the ball form immediately after setting that bomb. Not that I really give a damn about doing things in any especially big hurry. I'm just sure my constant fast-forwarding might have given people a different impression, though. I'm more interested to know what that machine does, not if it's still running. Right, should have tried the missile first. The blast certainly looks like it causes a decent amount of trauma where it lands, and we've got another of those striped bits of wall, which means we're gonna be coming back here at some point. Again, assuming I remember after we get the relevant upgrade, which might be several hours from now. Right, of course those eyes respawned in the short amount of time we were gone. Just another little annoyance to slow us down a little more. But then it's not like I need to blow up all these mushrooms with everything else open for us at the moment. I mean, hell, the acid does not exist anymore. Seriously, I could have gone around them and that tentacle with little to no trouble. Well, doesn't look like there's anywhere to go other than the elevator. I chose not to go down immediately. At the very least, I don't see anything immediately obvious other than that. Right, too much to hope we could avoid the wasps this time. Does this mean some of the barriers reform, or does the game just pick and choose which ones do that? And good God, it's embarrassing to get injured by the same obstacles we've already gotten past before. And even more annoying to see that the branches are still blocking off this path. Guess we'll just have to find some other way to get to the elevator. I somehow doubt we accidentally screwed ourselves over by not going to it immediately. That is most definitely not how Metroid has ever worked before. And if the occasional person had to completely restart the game in order to get past this early part, I'm pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't remember it so fondly. Still, I will admit I made things more troublesome than they strictly needed to be. funny just how much I appreciate the fact that this game made the basic power beam so much more satisfying to use compared to most of the 2D games. Some of that is just the change of perspective from third to first person. Some of it is the minor visual touches, like the smoke when the cannon is done firing, or the little burn marks in the wall that will fade after a bit. But I'm pretty sure that it's because, with a few exceptions, if something is capable of being hurt, then our most basic weapon is certainly capable of doing the job. Well, I suppose going through this little maze for an upgrade counts as something new enough to slow down for. Ah! Somehow didn't notice that second entrance into that maze earlier. For a moment I was starting to question if it really was possible to make mistakes that completely block you off from things around here. Still, while the Metroid Prime games aren't as kind to people who try to sequence break as the 2D titles, they still had more than enough attention put into them to avoid putting the player into game-breaking situations. Nintendo's not perfect, but far more often than not, if it has that company brand on it, it's not broken and glitchy as hell, that's for sure. At least not so long as you don't look at how the Pokemon franchise stagnated for quite a shocking amount of time, while still somehow raking in more money than anything else. But we're here for Metroid, not Pokemon. Even if both series seem to have quite a path problem whenever we're inside of caves. Probably not all that worth slowing things down again, but hey, technically we've never been in there before. Another room I thought we wouldn't be coming back to. Well, we certainly didn't have the ball last time we were in here, that's for sure. And part of me can't help feeling that I missed something else in there. Wait, did I just go backwards for a moment while in that tunnel? Yes I did. Bloody hell, time to turn back around. That's more like it. And now to see what this elevator has in store for us. Magmore. Well, that's a rather informative name. I wonder what kind of liquid we're gonna see in here. Right. Missed the platform I was planning on landing on. Sure, we didn't take any fall damage, but still, I was hoping to head to the unknown with some measure of control. Well, this is as good a place as any to save, but considering how much time that took us to get here, I'm not all that inclined to call it a day just yet. Well, nice to see confirmation that a save point will replenish our health, though apparently it doesn't also top up our ammo for some reason. Bit of a surprise, but nothing too major. Finally, we run into something that's only vulnerable to missiles after we gain the missile upgrade. It certainly took us long enough. Huh. Thought that charged shot would be close enough to open the door. Not that a door is all that tricky to hit, just that I had a different idea of just how large the charged shot's blast radius was. Considering the beetles from earlier also burrowed, I don't think it's right to call this thing just plain burrower. It's funny how the one bit of information we get for pretty much everything, the name of the creature we're scanning, is the one bit I seem to keep having an issue with. Wish I could say that looks a little intimidating. Unfortunately, I've seen far too much lava over the years to be all that concerned about it anymore. And it doesn't help that we gained the Viera suit before we ever had to worry about being burned anywhere near lava. Though it's still dangerous to touch the stuff. Kind of interesting that there's a serpent that lives in the lava. Or, well, magma, really. I know, I kind of use lava more than magma because I just like how it flows off the tongue. Anyway, not too sure how anything could have a sense of smell while under that superheated liquid. But then it's not like lava in the Metroid franchise works like magma in the real world. There isn't even the slightest bit of smoke in the air down here. Anyway, it seems those serpents can take a beating, at least before we've gained the ability to use whatever ice weapon this game decides to go for. Not quite as much of a beating as the Queen back on the station, but still, rather substantial for something that isn't a boss, especially one that doesn't have a specific weak point like that armored bug from earlier. And we've also got floating gas bags that can explode, but are pretty fragile to also slow us down. Not that they slow us down by much, especially compared to that serpent. And I just stupidly did the one set of actions that was guaranteed to cause us the most damage. Still, considering the pace we lose health around here for the most part, it's still kinda relaxing even as we're in danger. I suppose going through Metroid Fusion and Dread back-to-back really messed with my expectations for how much we're gonna get damaged if we screw up. The very first Metroid Prime, at the very least, is pretty forgiving. I'm not really sure I can say the same for Metroid Prime 2, but that's for next time. We've got to get through this one first. Great. Now I can't help wondering what makes the explosions from bombs and the ones from missiles seem so distinctive. The visual of each explosion is interesting in its own way, and certainly not the usual kind of fireball we generally see from explosions in various games. I somehow doubt the two different types of explosions should have differing enough impact damage that the blast from one completely obliterates one kind of ball and has no effect at all on another that the alternate explosive can damage. Again, this is not an issue with gameplay. That kind of thing was an element that I had no issue with in the 2D games. It is a problem that this game that comes up with a lot of lore and puts in a whole lot of very nice explanations for a number of things has not convinced me in a way that that bit of storytelling and gameplay really mesh together. Similarly, I have little issue with the fact that we lost what few upgrades we started with when Samus was escaping the space station. But the way we saw her lose them felt like total bullshit. Hell, I'm more willing to accept Metroid Dread's method, where she just wakes up after an unknown event happens and learns that she, for some reason, doesn't have what she had when she started, rather than just slamming into a wall too hard. Well, those things are easy enough to deal with once you figure out their gimmick, and again, I really appreciate all the things that the bombs are capable of doing in this game. Especially since we can't use bombs to just check random bits of ground to see if there's something hidden there, like in the 2D games. Each room is just too damn massive to do something like that. And oh, before I forget, also like the touch that when we were in that bit of orange smoke rising from the ground, it made our visor take an orange tint. Anyone else find it strange that this game won't show smoke in a room filled with magma, but will still have such a nice visual touch like that? I'm not asking for ultra-realistic. If anything, I appreciate that this game is not ultra-realistic in a number of ways. It's just a bit strange, some of the things they decided to put attention to detail for, and what they decide isn't all that important. Yeah, that machinery definitely goes against the Chozo's self-stated "we will not desecrate this planet with anything unnatural if we can help it" goal here. Though I suppose it is possible that the pirates are the reason there's so many pistons and platforms that go up and down like this. Hell, even the doors all over the place feel a tad high-tech considering what the Chozo claimed they were doing here. What do you do when the in-game lore clashes in a few ways with the gameplay, but the gameplay itself is so damn fun that you kind of wish you didn't give a damn? Well, if the pirates want to secure the underground caverns, they're gonna need more than some turrets to do so. I wonder how long until we start fighting against pirates down here on the surface. If they manage to build all this, even in a cavern, this filled with magma, then there's no way that all their troops were stationed on the space station. I'm sure they had a garrison on the ground as well, even during their emergency. A garrison that is probably doing whatever it can for the survivors from the station, and possibly berating them for sending out a distress signal that directly led to Samus finding out about their operations on this planet. For a moment, I was worried I wouldn't be able to make that jump. It's not as easy to judge from first person as it is from third person. Oh, I somehow doubt that security would be able to react in time if the magma-based predators started picking off pirates out here. So they're ready to start mining minerals just for the sake of selling them. Part of me wants to say that's oddly legitimate of them, since, well, they're pirates. It's right there in the name that they do illegal and dastardly things in space, since they're space pirates. But then I suppose it's not like the research and mining they've been doing on this planet really fits with the usual idea I have of pirates. Hell, we've never really seen Samus hunting some bounties, despite explicitly being called a bounty hunter. Not sure if that's outright mistranslation to the names for the long-running villains, just like there's a bit of a cultural issue, though, with the fact that Samus is called a bounty hunter in Japan does not have the same idea of bounty hunters as the United States. Okay, there was literally nothing on the other side of that breakable box other than a bit of magma for us to fall into. Sorry, I guess I'm just too used to the 2D games, and now we had to check absolutely everything to see if there was some hidden item there. Anyway, looks like we've got another elevator here. For some reason, I thought we'd do more in this area before moving on to another one, but hey, it's not like I'm against leaving the lava caverns behind. we go straight from fire to ice, well, they're certainly gonna have a hard time explaining why it was that quick for us to go from such a drastically different environment, which kind of makes me hope that they don't even bother trying to explain it. Right, so that's 3 distinctive zones we've seen so far in this game. Wonder how many more we've got ahead of us. Definitely nice that this isn't the part of the timeline where Samus has to worry about freezing to death in her suit just yet. Though I've really got to wonder if Metroid Prime 4 is gonna go that way. After all, they started getting to work on Prime 4 before Dread was released, so it wouldn't be a surprise to me if it wasn't the furthest part of the timeline just yet. I still can't help hoping, though, that it's gonna come at some point after Fusion, at the very least, though. Apparently the rest of its life is just as long as I don't feel tempted to shoot a missile at them. Yeesh. I certainly appreciate the fact that missiles can apparently track their targets, at least to a degree, but I'm not really planning on using missiles against anything all that mobile. The things that missiles seem to be the only thing that can kill them seem to be pretty slow-moving. Okay, scanning those fast-moving, occasionally invisible birds is gonna be a pain in the ass. Well, thankfully not invisible enough that we can't scan it. And thank you for telling us that we have X-ray vision in our future somewhere. Right, not a chance in hell we're gonna get that upgrade anytime soon. Anyway, it feels like we've done more than enough for one clip for now. Time to find a save point and call it a day.